Hey everybody, it's me, Crazy Frankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 5 4 key game picks. Now, before we get into Week 5, how about last week in Week 4? As many people have called it Comeback Sunday, and obviously if you saw any of the games last week, obviously the big comeback was done by the Lions over the Cowboys last week. I tell you, it looked like it was after seeing that game. It looked like the Lions were going to get blown out in that game because really they were terrible in the first half, and I can't explain how the Lions came back in the second half or how Tony Romo and the Cowboys choked in that game. But it was definitely a comeback for the ages. I have never seen a game like that ever before in my life. And another comeback was by the Bengals as they beat the Bills. After the Bills, the last 2 weeks actually were the ones doing the comebacks, but this time they were a victim of a comeback by the Bengals, and obviously, like I said, you can't win. The Buffalo can't win them all, and you can't expect to make comebacks. I mean, that game was a surprise for me because I did pick Buffalo in that one. And the 49ers, how about them? After trailing 24-3, I think it was in the first half. I don't know how they came back in the second half and just took over the game. Well, obviously, I mean, I know what's going on with the Eagles. They're having big-time defensive problems. And that fumble in the fourth quarter that cost them the game last week. Obviously, right now, anybody who said dream team for this Eagles team, they ought to get their ass kicked for that because really, this Eagles team is not a dream team. This really, to me, was all hype, and I knew it was trouble. And how about the Giants against the Cardinals last week? Even though I did pick the Cardinals to win in an upset, but obviously, I mean, if you look back at the Giant-Cardinals game, obviously you got to look back at that controversial call of wide receiver Victor Cruz's catch that he basically went down and he got up and he basically fumbled the ball and the Cardinals got it, but the referee said that he was down and it was not a challengeable play. It was not a challengeable play. Obviously, in my honest opinion, I think that was a fumble. Obviously, the refs didn't blow the whistle at that time, and I do believe the Cardinals did get robbed in that game. I think they did. Well, like I said, I mean, the league and the officials said they didn't challenge it. Well, it was a heartbreaker for Arizona. But, anyways, enough about Week 4. Let's get into Week 5, shall we? Let's get into my 4 key game picks for Week 5. And the first one I got to do is the Jets-Patriots. Now, obviously, the Patriots are looking for big-time revenge after their loss last year in the playoffs to the Jets at New England. Obviously, the Patriots last week, I mean, they showed all their frustration out over the Raiders, and I'm glad they did because everybody knows I hate the Raiders. Obviously, they want to let out more of their frustration on the Jets. Now, the Jets last week against the Ravens, they were terrible. Or as Charles Barkley would say, terrible. Obviously for the Jets, if they're going to beat the Patriots, they really got to be completely flawless in this game. Obviously, Mark Sanchez has to do a better job of holding the ball. The offensive line has got to protect him. And defensively, they got to really be on Tom Brady. They got to really apply pressure to him if the Jets even want a chance to beat the Patriots. But in all hindsight, I still think the Patriots, I'm going to go with the Patriots over the Jets in this one. Obviously, the Patriots are still frustrated ever since their loss to Buffalo. So, Patriots over the Jets. Second key game is the Tennessee Titans against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I would say for Pittsburgh, this is a must-win game for them. Obviously, they're 2-2. They're last in the AFC North. They are one of my picks to win the division, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen now. If they want to stay in contention, they have to really play hard in this game because Tennessee, this is an upstart team here. And Matt Hasselbeck pretty much has rejuvenated his career in Tennessee. Tennessee's also 3-1, so obviously, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got to have a lot of worries right now. Obviously, the offensive line is not protecting Ben Roethlisberger. And for the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game, the offensive line has got to protect him. Otherwise, the Tennessee defense is going to be all over him the entire game. And Pittsburgh's defense, they got to be on their toes. I know they're missing some key starters, but really, if they want to save their season, they got to really be on their game. And I think the Pittsburgh Steelers will win this game, obviously because they need to win. This is a must-win game for them. So I'm going to go with the Steelers over the Titans. Third key game here is the Philadelphia Eagles against the Buffalo Bills. Now, obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles need this. They need this game badly because they're 1-3 right now, and the way they've been playing lately, it's been horrible. So, as for Buffalo is concerned, if they want to keep pace with the Patriots to even have a chance in the AFC East, they kind of also need this game as well. Otherwise, their record could be 3-2. They pretty much could fall behind in the division. And obviously, for both these teams, they both need a win desperately. But I'm going to go with the Eagles. Obviously, I'm having a little bit of confidence. I think they'll get back on their feet, and I think they will beat the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills will get their second loss. Because really, the Eagles I think are going to play much more harder this week. And Michael Vick, I think, will be finally back on his toes after the last two games haven't been good for him. So I'm going to go with the Eagles over the Buffalo Bills. Last game, this is one of my upset games here. It's the Green Bay Packers against the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously, these two teams met last year in the playoffs. Green Bay knocking Atlanta off, and they beat the crap out of them in the playoffs last year. Now for Atlanta, they're trying to stay pace in the NFC South with the Buccaneers and the Saints. Obviously, the Falcons really need this game. They need to win to stay pace. For Green Bay, they pretty much still have the lead in the NFC North, even though they are tied for first place with the Detroit Lions. But in this game and all, the Falcons, they're at home. And I kind of like their chances. I think Green Bay is going to be in a dogfight here. This is not going to be an easy game for them. And even though I did pick against the Packers in Week 1 as I had the Saints beating them, but Green Bay ended up winning that one. But I think this time around, I think this is where the Packers will get their first loss of the season. Atlanta, they're pretty much hungry right now. They need this game more than the Packers do. And I'm going to go in an upset here. I'm going to go with the Falcons over the Packers. So there you have it, folks. Those are my Week 5 4 key game picks. All of my picks for Week 5 will be posted up on my blog at crazyfrankie56.blogspot.com. And I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. Enjoy Week 5, everybody, and I'll see you next week.